I don't want to waste your time, so there won't be an intro. Aviator Games is probably one of the most defender-sided bomb sites in the entire game. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any interesting ways of attacking it. In fact, one way of attacking Aviator is one of my most favorite strategies. I'm talking about the master take, and in this video, I'm going to show you the textbook version of how you are supposed to play it. The round we are watching right now is TSM vs Dark Zero of the NEL group stage with TSM attacking. And since this is a video about the master attack, I don't want to spend too much time on the defense. The only thing that you need to know is that the defenders are, as usual, only trying to hold main stairs and the site itself. But there is one small thing to focus on. What's going to be key is this cage charge that Hyper is throwing right here. Let's quickly switch to a different round to see exactly what he's doing. He throws the claw deep into that shelf behind the bomb, and that makes it straight up impossible to shoot it. And since Thatcher is banned, that's obviously going to be huge. Okay, so let's put our focus on the attacking team. And the first thing I want to talk about is how TSM positions themselves. IQ on Trophy Balcony, Nomad on Astro Window, and Sledge, Ash and Hibana outside Master. Especially IQ and Nomad have very important positions here, because they are stopping any kind of early aggression. If Nomad and IQ weren't playing those spots, Dark Zero would have had a really easy time playing in Trophy and Astro, wasting a lot of time and utility. Now, of course, in this round they aren't even trying to do that, so you could argue that it doesn't actually matter, but the hallmark of a great strategy is being prepared for eventualities, and TSM certainly is. But there's also something to criticize. 3 people droning pretty much the exact same area is inefficient, and honestly, they are pretty lucky that Dark Zero doesn't use it to their advantage. As a defender, you want to contest the attackers as early as possible. But based on what I talked about earlier, it makes sense why Dark Zero wasn't playing an Astro and Trophy, right? There is a sizable risk that you get cut off by IQ and Nomad. But there's pretty much zero risk for defenders playing on Red Stairs and 90 here. So if Dark Zero did that, they would have gotten at least 2 drones, more or less for free. And I think that when it comes to collecting those freebies, there's quite a bit of room for improvement for a lot of Pro League teams. Going back to the round though, we have TSM successfully taking map control after just 1 minute and only having lost a single drone. The next step for TSM here is taking 90 control. And what's very important is that we can already see achieved rotating over to 90 window before they even drone it. And this just goes back to planning for eventualities. You don't want to drone 90, spot a defender, and only then send someone over. You want to have a player on 90 to begin with. And that is especially true because we are talking about 90 in particular. Defenders are always playing 90 here, because it fits really well into the concept of contesting early, shooting a drone, and then falling back, which is exactly what Skies is doing here. So there's really no excuse for not having someone on 90 repel. Okay, so TSM got map control. But if you take map control, you have to have some way of keeping map control. And that's where Nomad comes in. Sadly, flank watching is somewhat underappreciated by observers. Did you catch it? Yeah, me neither. Let's look at that again. Nomad is in statue on drones, but she's not actually droning. If you look closely, you can see Chala constantly switching on and off this drone, which is an Ivy and provides vision on bottom red stairs. The reason he's not just staying on that cam is that of course he also needs to check Astro stairs. You can't see it on stream, but his second drone is probably in one of these spots. And with those 2 drones in place, you just constantly flick between them and have control of both red and Astro stairs, which means that your flanks are secured. So far, we've seen pretty much perfect early and mid game, and the next item on the checklist is to rotate Sledge and Hibana over to study to open the Aviator wall. The idea here is of course to force defenders out of Aviator and then to lock them out by cutting this rotation. But in order to do that, you need to get rid of the cage charge on that wall, and in this round, TSM never manages to do that, which means that the wall stays closed, the study players have basically no impact, and Smoke and Kate have a really easy time denying the plant. But I want to show you how this execute is supposed to look like when things are going according to plan. Here we have another round of the same match, and this time TSM actually manages to destroy the cage charge. And a bit later on, we again have Hibana on study balcony and Sledge on study window. And this round really shows why you need to have 2 players outside study. Just now, Hibana tried to reach the wall, but if a defender is playing in this corner where Jaeger is right now, they can easily shoot the pellets off the wall. And this is where Sledge comes in to prevent that. Interestingly, you can actually make the argument that if you know Hibana's on her own, that these holes work in favor of the defenders. Because if you move into that position but don't shoot the pellets, you actually get an extra angle towards the Aviator door. So in either case, the attackers definitely need 2 players outside study. Going back to that second TSM round, Sledge was actually a bit late on killing Jaeger, and he did manage to shoot all the pellets. So once again, there's no real breach in that wall. Realizing that they need to make something happen here, Geo pushes up immediately, and this is a really nice example of using the space that is created by a kill. At this point in the round, you don't have 2 players main stairs. So by pushing in immediately after you get the kill, you can surprise the defender that is picking up the position, which is exactly what happens here. And if Geo also managed to get the next kill, this could have been a win for TSM. But he loses a gunfight, and because there is no real breach in that wall, Cade can just retake Aviator and win the round. Now we had 2 rounds where the attack failed during the final execute. But now I'm actually going to show you how this is supposed to look like. This is Tempostorm vs TSM with Tempostorm attacking. And as you can see, it's pretty much exactly the same situation as in the 2 rounds before. We got 190, 2 in front of Aviator, and then Hibana and Yana outside study. After some initial difficulties, Hibana does actually get the wall open, and she also manages to kill Jaeger. With the wall open, Tempostorm is in a pretty decent position to plant, because now Hibana could actually kill a Cade pushing into Aviator. But that's not all. Remember how Dark Zero won the first round, where TSM didn't manage to reach the wall? Cade and Smoke were under no pressure whatsoever, so it was really easy for them to C4 the plant. And going back to the Tempostorm round, this could happen here as well. Cade is already in position to C4, but this hole in Aviator actually exposes him to Yana in study. And looking at the kill feed, this is exactly what happens. Cade dies in bar, Tempostorm flood the side, and they win flawlessly. Obviously, just getting the Aviator wall open doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the round, especially not in that fashion. But I do believe that if you play like TSM and Tempostorm did here, you should be winning more than 50% of the time. And that might not sound like much, but on a defender-sided map like Villa, you're happy if your attacks have a 50% win rate. So let's quickly recap how we can achieve that. You start by taking control of the master trophy side of the map, but it's very important to also have a player on Astro window and one on trophy balcony. Once you get control of that part of the map, you have a designated flank watcher who uses his drones to watch both red and Astro stairs at the same time. Next step is to get 90 control, and if you want to do it like the pros, you already have a player preemptively rotating over to 90 window before you even know what's going on. After that is done, Hibana and someone else rotate over to study to open the Aviator wall. And now you're pretty much ready to plant. You can do it behind the vault door, but I actually prefer planting behind that table, because even though it seems kinda small, it does actually fully cover you while planting. That being said, of course there are still a bunch of ways that this can go wrong, but if you manage to complete all the objectives of this strat, you are actually in a pretty favorable position. And I personally like this strat a lot, because only the really smart teams are able to play it to its fullest potential. Alright, that's it for the video. I hope you learned something new, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.